video, I'm going to be sharing the statistics and my thoughts surrounding the last 4 months of auditions for me. And I did this same topic of video for the first 4 months of this year as well, and I just think it's something that's really useful to do because it's really useful to, first of all, be aware of what you're doing audition-wise and what's going on, but also to reflect and think, what's going on? Is there any changes that I want to make? What kind of direction do I want to get in and what can I do to get there? So I find it really useful to reflect and look back. And it's important to never compare yourself to other people in this industry because we're all different people, different actors, we have different casting types. But I think it is always interesting to know how many auditions other people are doing. So I hope this video is interesting in some kind of way. So I filmed a clip for each month where I've thought about what went on that month, what it taught me, how many auditions I did, how many self-tapes I did, how many roles I submitted myself for, and then at the end we can have a chat about where we want to go next and how it's all going. So please do subscribe if you want to follow along with my journey anymore, and thank you so much for the support that everyone always gives me because I really appreciate it. And here are my reviews of each of the last 4 months. So May was the month when I signed up to Mandy, so most of my auditions and submissions are kind of concentrated towards the second half of the month. So I submitted myself to 13 different roles on Mandy and 4 different roles that I just found off Mandy, just separate from that. And I had 7 different self-tapes and they were mostly for screen, which is something I was really working towards. I really wanted to be seen for more screen stuff. There was 1 for theatre, 1 for an agency, 1 for a rehearsed reading, and the rest was various different screen things, which was really interesting and different than what I'm used to. And also, someone was self-tape reader for me who had never done a self-tape with me before. So I was first of all really grateful, and it was someone who actually works in the industry, so having the opportunity to do a tape and get notes from someone who's knowledgeable about the industry was really useful, and those notes I've then taken on board to future projects, and it's something I still think about. So I was really grateful for that. Having the 7 tapes so close together really helped me develop the skill of turning around the tape every few days because it was quite a short turnaround between all the different tapes. So I really learned to balance that a lot more. So it was a very useful, productive month. So in June, I was really lucky to actually do 12 self-tapes, which is so many, and I was really blessed to have the opportunity to do that many because towards the end of June and throughout June, I was applying to agents, so it was really nice to know that I could prove to them that I could do tapes because I had the numbers behind them. So I really recommend keeping track of how many tapes you do when you're doing a lot, so you can just prove to people that even if you don't have that much professional experience, that you're able to still function in the industry. And I submitted myself to 15 different roles on Mandy, 8 different projects off Mandy, and I also had 1 in-person audition where I actually was blessed to have booked the job, which was really good because I think I haven't booked anything from an in-person audition in a while, so it's a really nice confidence boost to know that I can do it. So I just wanted to say that's not normal every month, and I think there was a lot of stuff for me in June because there was a lot of different student films, casting, and I was just trying to put myself out there for loads of different projects and get as much experience as I can. So I'm not even saying that if I booked any of these projects, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this, but maybe the outcome of the project would not be that good and it might not have been the highest standard of project, but I just wanted to get the experience of taping as much as I can and taking every opportunity. So that's why it's a big number, but I don't want people comparing themselves. So July was a very exciting month because it was the month where I signed with my agent, and I signed kind of midway through July, and it's the month where I did my first tape with my agent, which was very exciting. And I only had 5 tapes, which I think is partly because it's quiet, because it's over summer, but also I think I'm starting to be a bit more selective with which projects I want to submit myself for and tape for. I'm not being overly selective, but if I think I don't really know these people and it might be a bit dodgy, or if things feel like it might be a bit weird or unsafe, or it's an overly romantic film and it's not very well paid, I might not put myself in situations that could be unsafe. I submitted myself to 14 projects on Mandy and 3 just general other projects. And other types of audition wise, I did 1 in-person recall, and kind of related to acting, I did an audition for public speaking and doing speeches in schools, and that was over Zoom. And also, I think potentially for the first time ever, I turned down an audition, which isn't something I'm really at the place in my career to be doing. But basically, it was kind of too expensive to keep traveling there. It would limit my options for other work. It was going to be like a couple of evenings a week in a rehearsal venue that was very hard for me to get to. And I thought, practically, financially, it's just not really possible for me to do the role. And as much as I love the play, it would also limit me taking other opportunities for a prolonged amount of time because it was quite a long rehearsal process. So unfortunately, it wasn't really something I was able to do. Like, even if I did it, I'd have to be leaving rehearsals early because I can't drive yet, so I can't physically get myself back from the rehearsals. So it was really like sad to turn stuff down, but like that's sometimes what you have to do if it's physically not possible. And I don't know if maybe I shouldn't have applied because public transport wise it was just very overly difficult, like would have taken me hours to get there. So I don't know, because I really want to travel and get work, but like I don't know if that's just too difficult and I shouldn't have put myself forward for it. So it's August and I've done 3 self-tapes, submitted myself to 14 roles on Mandy and I think 6 off Mandy, and I've also done a chemistry read. And it might sound like not a lot, but I feel like some of the tapes have been like, not even like necessarily they want you to learn the script and learn big parts of text, but there's just been a lot to it, not in a challenging way, that it's just been like quite sizable tapes, so it feels like more than it is. And I think it's just been a really interesting month because it's quieter, it means you can like focus on other parts of acting because there's more to acting than just taping. There's like upskilling yourself, like improving your acting. So it hasn't felt like a quiet month, even though there's not been as much on. And I think it's interesting as well that I've built so much connections now that like I'm applying to companies that I've applied to before and I've seen before, and like maybe it's not worked out to before, but like I think that's really interesting that like I can apply to multiple roles with them across the years and hopefully something eventually will work out. So I think it's nice that I've built all these connections in the industry, even if things aren't always coming from them yet, like things can come from that. So looking back, I think I've really achieved my goal that I had at the end of the first 4 months of the year, which was to get seen for more kind of screen projects, because that's what I've really trained in, but I was really struggling to get seen for that. And I think joining Mandy has helped with that. Having an agent, I'm really grateful to have, because I think that opens me up to having access to more contacts, potentially to be seen for different types of work that I would otherwise struggle to get seen for. So I'm really lucky to have that, and I feel like over the past 4 months I've really set myself up to be open to any opportunities to audition for stuff. Like I think I've put myself in all of the right places for when the right auditions come along for me to be able to do them and get in the room for them. And I think because I've been doing so many more self-tapes, I think they've got so much better over the last 4 months. Like, it's wild how much better they've got. And I'm really grateful that I've had the opportunity to tape and improve my skills in that area. I think I can back myself a lot more now to get tapes done faster. I can learn lines better, and just overall, it's a lot more of a smoother process. And I feel like sometimes the self-tape process can feel a bit jarring because you're not in a theatre, you don't have like another actor you're looking at. Like sometimes it can just feel a bit jarring the way it's formatted because you have someone reading in the lines and you're not actually like on set, you're not in a theatre. Like you can get in your own head and feel like everything that you're doing feels really unnatural, but I feel like I'm gradually progressing with that and starting to feel a bit better about that, because obviously it's not going to ever feel the same as being on a set and actually doing it there, but that doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't natural. And I think once you back yourself and like throw yourself into it a bit more, then it's a lot better. Also, because I've had so many self-tapes, I've been working on them in my acting classes, so I think that's led me to be able to do self-tape scripts a lot more naturally and find my own kind of rhythm and process with that. So I feel like overall everything's just going better with that, which I'm really grateful for, because I feel like now I'm a lot happier with the tapes I'm sending off. Like I can still always improve, but I think I'm sending off higher quality self-tapes, which is always a good thing. But to be completely honest with you, there is one thing that I've started struggling with tapes, which is sometimes the first line. I just do it again and again and again because I stop the self-tape and I'm like, that doesn't sound natural, and I start again and I'm like, that's not natural. So I'm really trying to work on that, because I think what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to like just really, if I'm feeling uncertain about the line, just use that for the character, because I think like the character in the start of a scene is really trying to find their voice and find what they want to say, and using that to take me into the scene rather than like questioning myself and like taking myself out of it, but using that kind of like, oh, we're starting a self-tape as like a, oh, like my character actually now is going to say something and start a conversation. Like using that kind of energy instead has helped me like not overthink the first line too much. I'm also feeling grateful to have had a few more in-person auditions and to have people who I've auditioned for before get back in touch with me again. Like I feel really grateful that like the networking and like being seen for things before is starting to pay off, because I think even if you don't get something, like there's always a chance you can work with these people again in the future, which is really nice to know that that can actually work out and things can actually happen with that. I think I've done quite a few different types of auditions, because like I haven't really done many like chemistry reads before and as many in-person auditions, so I think that's something that I would really like to do, and I would love to eventually be seen for bigger projects and be in chemistry reads with like loads of different people and like explore scenes that way. Like I think that's a really interesting kind of audition process that really like would be interesting if you get the role as well, to have explored the scene so many different ways with so many different people's interpretations. And I really like doing in-person auditions, and that's something I'd like to do a lot more, and just do like chemistry reads, different things. Like I find that really interesting. I would also like to be seen at some point for TV, because I've put myself forward for open castings in the past, but I don't really get the opportunity to tape for TV things through open castings. Like I never get to that point of being asked to tape for that. And I did one TV audition that was like a big group in-person thing where they were just seeing loads of people, but I haven't taped for TV in a while, and that's something that I would really like to do. I would really like to over time be auditioning for bigger screen projects. Like I think that would be really interesting, TV and film, so that's something I hope to do, but I know that it's kind of hard to get in the room for that or like get tapes for that, but that's something that I would like to work towards. Also, I have been told that summer tends to be kind of quiet for auditions, like July, August kind of time, and then September, October tends to get a bit busier, so I have that in my mind as something I may need to prepare to be doing more tapes and all of that. I think what will be interesting as my career moves forward is that this time of my life has been very quiet work-wise, with like relation to just like any kind of work. Like I've been looking for work rather than working. I've worked a bit, but not as much as I want to be, because we need to earn money in life. So I'm just thinking and having an awareness of the fact that I may be soon working quite a lot, so balancing doing the level of self-tapes that I could be doing and auditions alongside that will be something that I need to be aware of finding a way around. But I also know that people are like, it has to get done, so it will get done, and like you will find a way to do it. So I'm not overly worried about that, but that is something that I'm trying to remember could happen and will happen, because as actors we all have to work and earn money still, and that's not always in the acting industry, but we do have to work, and if you want to be doing the acting and auditions at the same time, you have to find a way to balance that all out. So that will be something I will have to work out, but I don't think it's an impossible task at all, so it will be fine. So those are my thoughts on the last 4 months for me. If you have anything that you want to share about your auditions, if you have any questions, any experiences you want to share, please do leave them in the comments, because I find it so nice to be able to talk to people about the industry in the comments. So if you leave me a comment, I would really appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!